Guess what just came? I realize it's backwards, but I'm going to read it to you. You don't need to worry about it. I'm going to read. It's here. It is 12, almost 20. It's 12:17, but I'm gonna forward a little bit. It's 12:20 here in Massachusetts. I'll give you a few. Go get yourself whatever you want to drink. Go get yourself coffee, tea, whatever it is you need. We're gonna hunker down. We're gonna read Margo Nash, Politics of Murder. I'm very excited. The power and ambition behind the altar boy murder case. Very exciting. A compelling and ultimately convincing case for O'Brien's innocence. Kirkus Reviews. I'm so very excited. And by the way, this is brand new today and hurts like hell. You know me, we're not fancy. Hello, Terry. Check it out. It's here. I have a fresh cup of tea. Because you know we need that, okay? It's here. It's here, it's here, it's here. Okay. Go get your blueberry muffin. Did you eat one for me? I hope you did. So jealous. Freaking jealous. You know what I was munching on yesterday while JFK was doing his live? I wasn't kidding when I said I had my peanuts. When your snap runs out and you only have so much, you buy this because that's going to last. That's what you do. That's it. So you get what you need. Get what you need. You can still listen to me in the background. I'm going to read the back of this book, okay? And no lights yet or anything. You know, I don't think we need them just yet. It was a wicked great live. I mean, everything with him is always great. Hi, Cheryl. I love that you're listening at work. Why work at work? Don't do that. Don't do that. By the way, also came today. Look at this. A new deck. Your breakthrough is coming. Unstoppable You Oracle cards. Why work at work? We'll do this later. We're going to do this right now. The Politics of Murder. I'm so excited. I'm going to read the back. Here we go. Cheryl, I love you. I love that you're here with me. Okay, let's read the back. Oh, girl, we were born multitasking. I don't know your gen, but I'm guessing if you're like me, we're Gen X. Girl, we were born adults. Okay, we started adulting in kindergarten, all right? Here we go. On a hot night in July 1995, Janet Downing, a 42-year-old mother of 4, was brutally stabbed 98 times in her home in Somerville, a city 2 miles northwest of Boston. Within hours, a suspect was identified. 15-year-old Eddie O'Brien, the best friend of one of Janet's sons. But why Eddie? He had no prior history of criminal behavior. He was not mentally ill. He had neither motive nor opportunity to commit the crime. Others had both, yet none of that mattered because powers far beyond his Somerville neighborhood decided that Eddie needed to be guilty. Eddie O'Brien's case garnered both local and national publicity. He was the youthful Irish Catholic boy next door. His grandfather was the retired chief of the Somerville Police Department. Court TV covered the trial in adult court gavel to gavel, calling it the altar boy murder case. But did the justice system fail Eddie? That's the contention of the author-attorney Margo Nash in her explosive expose, The Politics of Murder, the Power and Ambition Behind the Altar Boy Murder Case. Appointed Eddie's guardian at, my friend told me how to say this, Litum, I probably just ruined that. Nash attended every court session and eventually gained access to all his files. Now, after painstaking research and examination of each step of the investigation, trial transcripts, and the forensic evidence, Nash makes the case that Eddie could not have committed the crime and that other viable suspects were never properly considered. The Innocence Program has recently taken on Eddie's case. Now readers can decide if politics sent an innocent boy to adult prison for the rest of his life. Margo Nash was a trial lawyer for 29 years, litigating both civil and criminal cases in Massachusetts. The Politics of Murder, her first book, reflects her passion for the courtroom. More importantly, it reflects her commitment to helping the innocent who are convicted by failures in the legal system. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I coming through all right? Oh, look at you, 78. There we go. Gen X, girl, Gen X. Did I come through okay? Did you hear me okay? I don't have a microphone. I am not fancy. Do I look fancy? Oh, good. I'm glad you heard me okay. All right. I'm just gonna, prologue. I'm so excited. I love to read. You guys are psyched because I love to read and y'all love to listen. So here we go. Prologue. Oh my God, there's so many chapters. And there's appendixes. Oh my God, there's so many appendixes. Oh my God. Oh my God. It's acknowledgments. I must read the acknowledgments. Acknowledgments. Y'all want to hear the acknowledgments? I'll read them if you want to hear them. If you don't want to hear them, I'll go straight to the prologue. I'm doing this for you, so you guys tell me. What would you like? Acknowledgments or prologue? You tell me, and I'm going to do it. I'm so happy. I'm going to take another sip of my tea while you guys decide what you want. Must have the tea. Oh my God, so good. So good. Why don't I just do both? I'll read the acknowledgments too. We might as well. She worked hard on this. Acknowledgments. I want to thank my brother, Jim Nash, for his painstaking first edit of this manuscript. His advice was invaluable in shaping the story and giving me direction and focus. My sister Anne Mary McCall read every word of this book and gave me support and feedback throughout the writing process. Eddie and the entire O'Brien family opened their hearts and their home to me and included me in their Christmas, Easter, and family celebrations. I'm glad I'm reading this. Jeanette de Beauvoir, I'm not French, I probably mangled that, appeared just when I needed a professional editor, and with patience and grace taught me how to use simpler words and make the prose flow naturally. After 30-odd years of legal brief writing, I'd forgotten how to do this. Okay. Oh my God. Acknowledgments, prologue, this chapter, that goes up to chapter, oh my God, look how many chapters. There, oh my God, there's so many chapters, it's so good. My book, I can lick it if I want to. Oh my God, there's so many chapters and then there's appendixes. It goes up to chapter 43 and then there's appendix A, B, C, D, and E. Oh my God, this is so exciting. Here we go. All right, prologue. In July of 1995, they charged Eddie O'Brien, a 15-year-old boy from Somerville, with first-degree murder for the brutal and bloody slaying of his best friend's mother. I'd been a practicing trial lawyer in Massachusetts for 12 years. I also appeared as bar counsel for indigent adult criminal defendants and juveniles in delinquency proceedings as bar counsel, where private attorneys, bar counsel were private attorneys approved by the local bar association to accept court appointments at reduced fees. We were, if you will, private public defenders. The program was necessary because there were never enough public defenders to meet the demand. Through the same program, I also served as a guardian ad litem. I know I'm saying that wrong. I'm so sorry. Thank you. In various courts in the Boston, Somerville, and Cambridge courts. I received a telephone call that October from the Somerville District Court asking me if I would accept an appointment from Judge Paul P. Heffernan. Heffernan, that's a great name. To act as guardian ad litem for Eddie O'Brien. Guardian ad litem literally means guardian for the proceeding. GALs, gals, oh, I'd rather say that, that's so much easier. Gals are often appointed in parental custody disputes, where they're expected to advocate for the child's best interests, which are not necessarily the child's expressed desires. Pause. Forgive me, I have tenants that are leaving the house. exiting stage left. We're going to let them do that. I love my tenants. They're awesome. Like the best ever. And they're gone. Here we go. All right. Now, okay, let's see. I had never been appointed before as a gal in a delinquency proceeding. My role with Eddie was not so clearly defined. I was the designated adult with whom Eddie could discuss his questions and concerns regarding his legal representation. His lawyers were supposed to be consulting me regarding their legal strategies, opinions, and decisions. As if Eddie's parent. Eddie had never been in any trouble before. He was a sophomore at Don Bosco. Oh, I didn't know he went to Don Bosco. A private Catholic high school in Somerville until he turned 13. He babysat for neighborhood children. He was a sports fanatic. He loved hockey, basketball, and baseball. He was a sports card collector. The Boston Celtics, Larry Bird, was his idol. Well, I mean, everybody loves Larry Bird. Come on, 33. Awesome. I love that. He hadn't made the varsity football team in high school because he wasn't aggressive enough. He had a part-time job stocking drink coolers and putting together the Sunday newspapers at Midnight Convenient, a corner store that sold newspapers, soda, magazines, and snacks. The case was an immediate headline grabber, and Eddie's face and stories about him appeared almost daily in the local and national media. I remember the day he was arraigned. It happened in the main adult open courtroom, not in a closed juvenile session. That was very unusual. The elected district attorney himself appeared for the Commonwealth. That was unheard of. I'd been in the courtroom that day on one of my cases, and I'd certainly heard about the O'Brien case. I'd actually seen Eddie down in the lockup earlier that morning speaking with a private investigator. I was there when the investigator emerged from the cell, looked up and said, "This kid did not commit this crime." I looked over at Eddie O'Brien in that cell, a scared boy who looked about 12 years old. He was tall, but he hadn't yet lost his baby fat. This is true. His cheeks were flushed red. I accepted the judge's appointment, but secretly I was worried about exactly how I could protect this kid and his legal rights. Looking back now, so many years later, I know with absolute certainty that I could never have protected him of his legal rights. I couldn't. Judge Paul P. Heffernan couldn't. The judicial system of Massachusetts couldn't. His parents couldn't. I'm going to show the picture. There's a picture. Look how young. Look at how young. He's a baby face. Oh, let me pull up my sleeves. I'm gonna get into this now. Here we go. Even the truth couldn't. Eddie O'Brien fell directly into a political maelstrom brewing since 1991, the year after I graduated high school. Lawmakers and politicians were waiting for a case like this to come along, and Eddie's case became that catalyst that changed juvenile law in Massachusetts and sent children to adult prisons for the rest of their natural lives. It also catapulted political careers and perverted the orderly administration of justice that we'd all once believed in. Not anymore. I've remained involved with Eddie and his parents over the years he's spent in state prison, serving a life sentence. He is middle-aged now. He has gray hair and a wonderful sense of humor. He is such a good man, a spiritual man, a forgiving man. Quote, "I don't need that kind of drama and negativity in my life," he frequently says. "I'd rather focus on what's positive." If his cell block has been in lockdown because of a fight or a shortage of guards, he shrugs. This is prison. It happens. There's nothing I can do about it, so there's no point in getting upset about it. During those long stretches locked up in his cell, he reads, watches news programs, writes letters to friends, and works on his case. Eddie doesn't trust easily, especially lawyers. Once burned, twice cautious, he spars with me over legal theories on his case, about which issues are the most important to appeal, about whom he can and cannot rely on for help. Eddie does get angry sometimes with me, his siblings, his legal team. He's a normal man with normal responses and emotions. He's no longer the complacent teenager who blindly believed that right begets might and the truth will set you free. In a recent letter, he wrote, "Before the trial, I couldn't wait for it to begin. I thought that I would finally be able to clear my name. But it didn't happen. Years after the trial, I'm still anxious to clear my name. No one who ever hasn't gone through something like this could ever have known what it feels like to want to clear your name. I'm not that 15-year-old boy who didn't understand what was going on anymore. I fully understand what I want and what I need to do this time around and what it takes." In 2015, Eddie and I spent a lot of time talking, reading old transcripts, and putting the pieces of a fractured puzzle together. I cringe about having completely missed the big picture so many years ago. To be fair, the big picture took years to develop and emerge into a legible image. When these events were actually going on, I was focused on far more immediate issues: his detention, the integrity of the police investigation, his transfer hearings, the appeals, the removal of judges, and the central question: who really murdered Janet Downing? Today, I finally understand what actually happened to Eddie O'Brien and why he has spent more than half of his life behind bars. I can't, this is just so crazy. And here we go next. A note on my role as guardian ad litem. The appointment of a GAL, G-A-L, is a delinquency proceeding is rare. In Eddie's case, the Commonwealth intended to call Eddie's father as a witness. Since his father was listed as a witness for the prosecution, Eddie's lawyers, Ralph Ciampa and Maria Curtatone at the time, felt he needed a GAL to act as a neutral parental advisor to him. They asked the court to appoint me. The Commonwealth never called his father to the witness stand, and looking back, I'm sure they never intended to do so. That's wild. It was most likely part of a strategy to divide the family and further isolate Eddie from everything he knew and loved in hopes that he would capitulate and admit to a crime he didn't commit. I'd totally buy that for $1. Although Eddie instructed his new lawyer, Bob George, two first names as a whole name, good Lord, Bob George, to keep me informed of developments and decisions in the case, Bob and I hardly spoke during his 2 years of representation. Eddie's parents were similarly uninformed, told that everything was fine and that they were in expert hands. Perhaps I should have pushed harder to be included in the decision-making. I believe now that there was only one person making legal decisions for Eddie, Bob George. I don't think he shared decision-making with anyone, not even the lawyers working for him. I trusted that Eddie's lawyer knew what he was doing. He was more informed in murder cases than I was. He was well known in the Boston area. I didn't question him. I should have. I know that now. I don't know if he would have shared anything more with me, but at least I would know that I'd tried to protect Eddie. My times with Eddie were limited. We attended his grandfather's wake, accompanied by 2 correctional officers, Eddie in handcuffs and leg irons. I saw him before the court day started, down in lockup for a few minutes longer if there was a delay. I often brought a second lunch to him to compensate for the lousy food the detainees got in the courthouse lockup and to remind him of home. We talked when the sheriff didn't take him directly back to the Plymouth Correctional Facility at the end of the day. I visited him at the juvenile facility in Plymouth and at the Cambridge jail where he was housed during his trial. I sat through his psychological examination by the Commonwealth's expert, Dr. Donald Conde. I think I knew him as well as an adult non-family member could. Eddie was emotionally and psychologically a young adolescent. He clearly did not understand the proceedings or the gravity of what was happening. He got angry when a witness lied, but he didn't understand how that lie might impact him. He was grateful and happy to see friends and hear them say good things about him in their testimony. He didn't understand their testimony would never affect the outcome. He was excited when the FBI profiler testified at his transfer hearing, someone who had written a book. Eddie talked about that a lot. He didn't grasp that this was really a bad development in his case. Our talks revolved around the lies witnesses told and how his lawyer caught the lie. He completely believed in Bob George. Eddie never thought for a minute that he would be convicted of murder. It was inconceivable to him. He hadn't killed Janet Downing. He had nothing to hide. He couldn't be convicted because he didn't commit the crime. His grandfather was a cop. Cops were good guys. The truth would come out eventually. I went to counsel's table during breaks in the proceedings to put my hands on Eddie's shoulders. I wanted to show everyone, including the TV audience in news reports and later court TV coverage, that I wasn't afraid of him. Often he and one of the lawyers would be playing hangman or tic-tac-toe on a yellow pad in front of him. Eddie would be giggling and fooling around with them. I never saw Eddie take one note during those 2 years. He was either engaged in a game with someone on the table or was staring off into the distance, a blank look on his face. I'd say, "What did you think about what Dr. Such and Such said?" He'd have replied, "Oh, I wasn't listening then. She was really boring." He was a kid. His life was at stake, and he understood very little of what was happening around him. I didn't understand everything that was happening either. I didn't have access to DNA and blood evidence, documents, police reports, the very things that with hindsight show the truth and the extent to which the Commonwealth went to obfuscate the truth to win this case. Hold on, make sure I didn't skip a page. Hold on. I want to make sure I didn't skip a page. Oh, I got it. Eddie wrote in June 2016, "I had trust in my lawyers, that they were doing the right thing by me. From the first day my parents hired Bob George, I felt that he had my best interests in mind. Before the trial, I couldn't wait for it to begin. I thought that I would finally be able to clear my name, but it didn't happen. I thought that I was going to take the stand and be able to speak for myself and defend myself. But then Bob George advised against it. He felt that the Commonwealth didn't prove that I was guilty, and he didn't want me to take the stand. On his advice, I didn't. In hindsight, I came to believe he only cared about the money and the publicity he received from the case. It was like he gave up after the transfer hearings and couldn't wait to get rid of my case. I didn't see it at the time, and he could have done so much more, especially since he promised me so much more. A tsunami of politics, incompetence, and misconduct was swirling around him, and Eddie O'Brien was thinking, when this is all over, I can't wait to get home and play street hockey again." And here's another picture of Ed O'Brien in 2014. Wow. Chapter 1, Just Another Sunday. Eddie O'Brien's alarm went off at 6:30 a.m. He would go to work by 7. Today he would put the Sunday newspapers together at the neighborhood variety store across the street from St. Joseph's Church in Union Square in Somerville, his hometown. Eddie had been working at the store for about 2 years. He got ready for work. He had no other plans for the day. It had been a difficult summer so far in the O'Brien home. His father, Papa to Eddie, was home from a month-long stay in the Somerville hospital. He had late-stage lung cancer. Papa refused further treatment or second opinions. He just wanted to go home. Papa's room was the former dining room in the modest single-family Victorian house on Boston Street. Just the week before, on July 16, 1995, Eddie's parents had thrown a party for Papa's 80th birthday. All the neighbors dropped by because Papa, also known as TJ or Chief, was a fixture in the neighborhood. He'd lived in that same house for 36 years, through 2 marriages and a long, distinguished career as with the Somerville Police. He had retired as chief the same year Eddie was born. The family took the opportunity while Papa was in the hospital to clean out the attic. It was filled with boxes of things Papa had accumulated from his years with the Somerville Police Department. His youngest son, Ed's wife, Tricia, and the 3 children that they had then, Jeannie, Eddie, and Jessica, had moved into Papa's house in 1985. But this was the first opportunity they'd had to sort through things. Among the files and papers and ledger books they found, there were also guns, swords, knives, old billy clubs, police badges, and all the pins that had decorated Papa's old uniform jacket. It was a treasure trove to a 15-year-old boy. Eddie packed them into a box and brought them across the street to his friend Ryan Downing's house to show all his friends. This was a group of approximately 6 boys who hung out together, often at the Downing home. Ryan was Eddie's closest friend. They'd known each other since they were toddlers. The guys passed the knives and clubs around and imagined where they came from and what they'd been used to do. That Sunday in July 1995, Eddie worked all morning at the store with Walter Golden, the owner, and Walter's son-in-law, Frank Kling. He got a ride home from his sister Jeannie. He brought copies of the Boston Globe and the Boston Herald for his parents and a big Tootsie Roll for his 3-year-old sister, Mary. He went back to bed and slept for a few hours. It was a hot and humid summer day, hovering around 85 degrees, and the house was not air-conditioned. Eddie got up, ate a sandwich, and watched TV until it was time for the 5:30 Mass at St. Joe's. He told his parents he was going to church and left with his sister Jeannie and her friend Paul Downing, Ryan Downing's twin brother, and they dropped him off in Union Square. When he got to the square, Eddie saw Frank Golden, Walter's son, working at the variety store, and went in to chat instead. The store was a familiar and safe place. Even when he wasn't working, he liked to go there and read sports magazines, hang out with his coworkers, and have a cold drink and a snack. Most of Eddie's friends dropped in to Midnight at MID-NITE, it's the name of the store, at some point in their day. He left the shop around 6:30, stopping in briefly at the park to talk to some friends. After that, he headed home again, running into Ryan Downing and 2 of their friends, Joey Dion and Chris Ford, outside of Ryan's house. The boys went into the Downing home and hung out until almost 8 p.m. when everyone but Eddie left to go swimming in yet another friend's pool. Eddie didn't want to join them. He was sensitive about his weight. At 15, he still had the chubbiness of a pre-adolescent. He wasn't even shaving yet. Eddie joined his father and 3 of his sisters, Jessica, 12, Mary, 3, and Megan, the baby, on the O'Brien's front porch. A neighbor, John Roberts, stopped by with his baby daughter and 2-year-old son, Timothy, to chat. Eddie's grandfather was in the house. His sister Janine was out with Paul Downing. His mother was out. It was getting darker outside. Eddie was thinking about going to his friend Garvey Solomon's house. Garvey had called earlier to see what everyone was up to. He did not want to go swimming either, and said that he was going to stay home. Jeannie pulled up in her car with Paul Downing and told her father that they were going to change and go to Revere Beach for a swim. Paul went into his house, and Jeannie came up to the O'Brien house. Eddie stayed outside in the street talking to Michelle Cameron, another of Jeannie's friends who was waiting for Paul and Jeannie to get ready for the beach. The 3 left for Revere Beach at around 8:30. Eddie returned to the porch and then went into the kitchen to get some popsicles for Timothy. At about 8:45, John decided it was time to go home. Eddie put the 2-year-old on his shoulders and walked him across the street to his house. Then he went back and rewound and restarted a Disney videotape for toddler Mary in the living room. At about 9:15, after listening to the radio for a while in his room, Eddie decided to grab something to eat at the Burger King in Union Square, then go to his friend Garvey's house. On his way out, Eddie glanced over at the Downing house, wondering whether Ryan and the others had returned from their swim yet. He decided to check in there on his way down the hill to Union Square. That decision changed the course of his life. Wow. That's crap. I need a sip of tea. I need a sip. I literally could sit here and read this whole book. I'm not going to. I will break it down, but oh my God. I think I put my child to sleep. She's on her bed with her earphones on, but when I read, I put her to sleep. Chapter 2. Janet Downing. Oh my God. All right. Can you guys still hear me okay? Let me know that you can still hear me okay. Please, kindly. And I shall continue. Chapter 2. Janet Downing. Janet Downing was, thank you, Terry. Janet Downing was a 42-year-old divorced mother of 4 children. Carrie Ann, 20, Erin, 19, and twins, Ryan and Paul Jr., 16. They lived on the corner of Hamlet and Boston Streets at 71 Boston Street. The house is a duplex, and Downing's family lived on the right side, along Hamlet Street. Janet rented the other half of the house to Barry and Virginia Reckley. Janet Downing had known Eddie O'Brien almost all his life, and he and her son Ryan were best friends. The O'Briens moved from just down the Hamlet Street hill to across the street at 74 Boston Street when Eddie was 5 years old. Most of the information I gathered about Janet Downing came from interviews with a neighbor, Gina Mahoney, who'd known her since they were both in their teens. Mahoney had grown up in the house at 70 Boston Street and raised her 5 children there. Although the 2 women lost touch with each other during the early years of their marriages, the friendship was rekindled when Janet and her husband Paul bought the duplex across the street from Mahoney in 1977. Mahoney said she and Downing did not run in the same circles as married adults, but were close neighbors. They borrowed and shared and talked the way neighbors do. They watched out for each other. Downing spent the last 10 hours of her life on July 23, 1995, at Mahoney's house. She arrived at 7 that morning and left at 5 that evening to go grocery shopping. She was murdered in her own house sometime between 8 p.m. and 10 p.m. that night. Downing had been living at 71 Boston Street for 18 years, first with her husband and after the divorce with their children. She was a clerical worker at Harvard Health in Medford, the next town over from Somerville. Her oldest daughter, Carrie Ann, was living temporarily in a shelter with her baby. Carrie had a difficult adolescence, complicated by emotional problems and substance abuse. Janet and Paul did everything they possibly could do to help her. It broke Janet's heart to tell Carrie to get out of the house, said Mahoney. Carrie's bedroom on the second floor was now empty. Erin also had a bedroom on the second floor of the house, near her mother's. Ryan and Paul, the 16-year-old twins, shared an attic room. Janet Downing was born and raised in North Cambridge, one of 5 children. Mahoney remembers that 2 of the Downing brothers had mental health issues and that one of them spent time in and out of hospitals. Downing told her that both of her parents had also had mental health issues. When they were teenagers together, though, she and Downing never talked in depth about these things. Downing's parents were very religious, born-again Christians, Mahoney said. Though she didn't know the denomination, the parents shunned Downing after she converted to Catholicism. Downing loved them and wanted their approval and was upset and hurt when they refused to speak to her. Downing was quiet and meek, disliking confrontation and arguments. A raised voice was violence to her, Mahoney said. The neighborhood along Boston Street was family-oriented and filled with kids, with noise, bustle, and life. No one rang a doorbell. People just walked in the door and said hello, Mahoney said. She never once locked her front door. I remember those days. Long gone now, but I remember those days. In the summer, people lived on their front porches and moved freely between houses, visiting one another. When someone came home with groceries, whatever kids were outside would help them unload them. It didn't matter if it was your kid or the neighbors, you called for them, and they came, recalled Mahoney. On that fateful day in 1995, no sooner had I made my cup of coffee and gone out to the porch when I saw Janet coming over with her cup of coffee. That was at 7 a.m. Downing left once to take Erin to a tanning booth, and again later to take young Paul to work. Both times she returned directly to Mahoney's house. She didn't leave until at 5, when she recalled she had to get to Market Basket before it closed. Downing had a lot on her mind that day. Primarily, she was worried about her job. She thought her employer was trying to terminate her. She'd received an unfavorable performance review. She knew Mahoney had worked in a union shop all her life and wanted to get her opinion and advice. Downing described what was happening at work, a reorganization forcing her to apply for other positions for which she wasn't qualified. Oh, I hate when they do that. Sorry. Mahoney told her that the review seemed designed to give cause to terminate her rather than to portray her performance truthfully. She said she didn't know if filing a grievance would make any difference in the decision. Downing understood, but wanted to save her job if at all possible. Mahoney offered to write the letter disputing the performance review and to give it to Downing the following morning. Downing seemed relieved, and they passed a few hours after that just chatting on the porch. Eventually, they went into the house for a cold drink when Mahoney's daughter, Danny, who was 17, asked about having a later curfew that night. Downing pointed out that there had been a young girl murdered in Somerville the previous March. Danny abruptly left the room. Mahoney explained that she'd been close to the murdered girl, Deanna Kremen, and was traumatized by the event. They discussed the murder investigation and how there were still no suspects after 4 months. Downing then stunned Mahoney. She said that if anything like what happened to Kremen ever happened to her, she wanted Mahoney to promise that she would make the police investigate. She pounded her fist into her palm each time she said investigate. No matter what it looks like, Gina, even a car accident, make sure it is thoroughly investigated. I would never kill myself. Mahoney asked the obvious questions. Why was she so adamant about this? Why had she even thought about it at all? Had someone threatened her? Downing went back to her house and returned with a book called A Guide for the Divorced Woman. She told Mahoney that she had been reading this book every night. She kept it on her night table, and one night it was gone. Though it had been there when she left that morning, a few days later, her brother-in-law, Artie Ortiz, appeared beside her car in the parking lot as she was leaving work, with the book in his hand. He gave it to her and said he'd found it in a parking lot somewhere and knew it was Downing's. His sudden appearance holding her book terrified Downing. Found it in a parking lot? Doubtful. I call shade. That's not in the book, that's me. Okay, here we go. Downing had been afraid of Ortiz to begin with. In the winter of '94, she'd allowed him and her younger sister, Carol, and their baby AJ to move in with her and the kids. Ortiz drove a taxi for Green Cab of Somerville. Downing remodeled the downstairs den to accommodate Carol's family, even though it wasn't an ideal situation given Downing's struggles with Kerry and some recent acting out by Paul Jr. Artie and Carol fought constantly. The situation became untenable when Downing discovered Ortiz was dealing drugs out of her basement. Well, isn't that kind of him? So in March, she asked Carol and Artie to leave the house. They'd been living with her for about a year by then. Ortiz was angry with Downing for asking them to move out. Other, quote, scary things had been happening in the house. Downing told Mahoney clothes would disappear and reappear days later in odd places. Christmas decorations were left in various rooms on the main floor. Downing believed Ortiz was following her and was doing these things to frighten her. Let me tell you a story, Gina, she said. One dark evening after Carol and her husband moved out, Downing said she was driving home from work and realized that she was suddenly surrounded by green cab taxis. One behind her, one on either side of her, and one in front. They kept beeping their horns at her. They had her boxed in as she drove slowly down the street. I was shaking so hard I couldn't look over at them. I had to just focus on not hitting them. She asked Mahoney if she'd ever seen a green cab taxi in the neighborhood. There's a green cab taxi in your driveway almost every day when I get home from work at 3:30, Janet. He's there all the time. I thought you knew. All right, that's creepy. I need a minute. That's creepy. I need a minute. And this dude was in JFK's chat yesterday. All right? Okay. Literally have the chills. Okay. Downing had come home several times to find Ortiz inside the house. Oh, hell no. That's when I would start locking my shit down. Going back to the book. Downing had come home several times to find Ortiz inside the house. She repeatedly asked him to stay away and return her house keys, which he hadn't done when they moved out. Ortiz claimed he didn't have the keys. Oh, you just magically showing up in the house? Yeah? You got like the invisibility cloak? What's up, dude? He claimed he didn't have the keys, that he lost them, and that the kids had let him in. Bullshit. Okay. Sorry. Had a cough there. When she asked the kids about it, each one denied it happening, and often they said they hadn't seen him all day. Once, Downing had forgotten to bring in a bottle of cooking oil from her car for a few days. When she finally brought it in, it was unsealed and she smelled perfume in it. Another time, someone poured windshield washing liquid all over her car's interior, seat, and rugs. Okay, I'm going to, for a second, disclaimer, okay, just for a second. There are going to be little ad-libs as I read this. Y'all are going to know what's in the book and what's not. You're going to know what's me and what's not the book. Just so you guys know me at this point. If I cough and something just happens to come out, it's not the book, it's me. Okay, just follow along. You'll know. Because now I'm starting to get involved here. All right? The dude was in the chat. Okay, here we go. Call the police, Mahoney advised her friend at once. Get a restraining order. If you're afraid of this guy and he's coming in and out of your house like that, you should call the police. Downing demurred. She didn't want to call the police. She didn't want to go to the police because it might look as if she was crazy, and her ex could use that information if they had to go back to court. Downing was afraid that her family's history of mental illness would be used against her. I can see that. Mahoney told her to call if she ever felt that she was in any danger. She promised to look for Ortiz's cab, and the next time she saw it in the driveway, she'd go confront him herself. Downing thanked Mahoney and left to do her grocery shopping. Mahoney saw her neighbor return from Market Basket at about 6:15. Downing parked in front of the house rather than in the driveway because it was easier to unload the groceries from there. Sometime after that, Mahoney went into her own house to make salad for dinner. Salad for dinner? Oh, yeah, it was the 90s. Sorry. They did that then. Salad for dinner. Keep going. Sorry. Oh, no. Sorry, I lost my place. God damn it, I lost my place. Apologies. Here we go. Salad for dinner. When her husband got home from the racetrack, Mahoney sent him to the backyard to grill some steaks. They ate dinner. There you go, steak with that salad, I gotcha. To grill some steaks. They ate dinner, and she cleaned up. It was after that she noticed Downing's car still sitting in front of the house, which was unusual. Downing always moved her car to the driveway after she brought the groceries in. Later, Mahoney remembers she was watching an HBO movie about a riot at Attica Prison. Just as the TV was showing sirens and lights, she could see straight through the dining room to the living room windows where lights were also flashing. For a moment, she couldn't distinguish between the TV sirens and the sirens in the street. When she realized something was happening outside, she jumped up, ran to the door. Police cars, a fire truck, and ambulances were everywhere. I don't know if I'm going to... I may just read this whole book. I can't promise. This is mental. Chapter 3. Virginia Reckley. Can you see it? I know it's backwards. Okay? Bear with me. Virginia Reckley. In 1995, Virginia Reckley and her husband Barry had been renting the other half of Janet Downing's duplex for 5 years. They knew Downing and her family well and considered them good friends. They also knew the O'Briens and the Mahoneys. It was a close-knit neighborhood. Virginia and Barry were home all day on July 23, 1995, babysitting their granddaughter. Their daughter, Christine, joined them. Excuse me. I have MS. That's going to happen. Okay. Their daughter, Christine, joined them at around 6 o'clock when she finished work. The family had a pasta dinner together. That's what I'm talking about, Italians. Pasta. They had a pasta dinner together and then went into the backyard to put the baby in the watering? Amy, let's get your shit together. The wading pool to cool her off. The baby pool. Both Virginia and Christine remember clearly that they looked at the kitchen clock and it was 8:15 when they decided to come inside and get the baby dressed. Virginia took the baby to the dining room table to change her. The table stood against the wall that her side of the duplex shared with Janet Downing's stairwell. Just then, both women heard a loud booming sound from the bottom of the stairwell. More precisely, they heard what sounded like someone falling down hard the last 4 or 5 stairs to the bottom. Christine was alarmed. Mom, what was that? Should we check to see if anything's wrong? They listened for a minute and heard nothing. The Downings' dog, a constant barker, was not barking. So Virginia said she thought it was okay, and they continued with what they were doing. It was Barry's birthday, and I'm so sorry. And they were about to celebrate with a cake. See, now not only do I want blueberry muffins, now I want cake. Okay? Power of suggestion is real, people. They were about to celebrate with a cake. They served it at 8:30. Christine remembers looking at the clock again to check the time. After they finished, she packed her granddaughter's things. Christine and the baby left shortly before 9. After Christine left, Virginia went into the kitchen to do the dishes and noticed there was no water pressure. This happened often if the Downings were using the water. It took forever to fill up the big pasta pot to soak. She washed the dishes again and noticed that it took a long time with so little water coming out of the faucet. When she finally finished, she dried her hands, wiped the counters, and went into the living room. Barry was lying on the floor watching television, and Virginia sat down on the couch. Virginia next remembers that Ed O'Brien, Trish's husband, came running by the front window yelling for help. She thinks that was shortly after she'd finished the dishes, but she isn't sure of the exact time. Virginia jumped off the couch, and she and Barry ran with Ed into the Downing home. The first thing she saw was Janet Downing lying on the dining room floor. Then she noticed the hallway powder room's sink was running full force with water slopping over the edge of the sink. So that's why I had no water, she thought. Her feet were bare, and she stepped on a framed picture lying on the floor. Luckily, the glass didn't break. Just then, she saw Ryan coming in the front door with his rollerblades on. She grabbed him and took him outside. Barry stayed inside the house for over an hour after the police arrived. As it turned out, Virginia and Barry Reckley were never interviewed. What? Virginia and Barry Reckley were never interviewed by the Somerville police? Not that night, not the next week, not the next year. They were never interviewed by the state police, CPAC unit, crime prevention and control unit attached to the district attorney's office that investigated all murders in Middlesex County. It was not until about 2 weeks before she was to testify for Eddie O'Brien's defense in late September 1997, more than 2 years after Janet Downing's murder, that the DA interviewed her. I need a second. You people, you don't understand. I live in Massachusetts. I live here. I live in Essex County. Middlesex is just below us. I live here. I live here. This is the bullshit that goes on all the time. I need a minute. Oh, you know what I need? Bear with me. I need a second. These are for emergencies. You see these? Dark chocolate truffles. Sometimes you just need a dark chocolate truffle, okay? And what I just read, I need a damn truffle, all right? I may not have muffins, Terry. I may not have cake, but you betcha it's like a dark chocolate truffle, okay? I need a minute. It is. It's Massachusetts. I understand. But, Terry, and forgive me, I'm eating now. I'm going to have black teeth. I don't care. You know I don't care. I'm not fancy. When you're little, you don't know that this bullshit is happening. I know, yum. And one of those hits, that flavor lingers. It's so good. When this shit is happening, you don't know that it's happening. You're little. You're outside with 2 cans and a string going, hey, what's up, dude? Like with your buddy in the next yard. No. Gen X. Did I know this was happening? No. There you go. You're Norfolk. Norfolk, Middlesex, Essex. Cheryl, you understand. I love you, Cheryl. Cheryl, if I could give you a chocolate through the phone, girl, right there. When you are growing up, you are completely oblivious to the bullshit. You don't know. I can't even with this book. I have right behind me one of the Beverly cops. Is he a nice man? He's friendly. He's kind to us. Does he let his dog out at night? Open the back gate to his yard and let his dog shit anywhere he wants and never pick it up? Yes, he does. Do I see him do it? Yes, I do. Does he care? Nope. Why? He's a cop. He can do what he wants. Is that a big deal? No. Oh, I don't have Halloween candy. I give out Pops. Hold on, let me see if I have any down here. I give out these. I buy the Yum Earth vitamin C Pops from Whole Foods. I can get them on Amazon too. And I pass these out to the kids. I put one every day out of my mailbox like this with a stick hanging out. So my mail lady gets a pop every day. Yeah. Yeah, we didn't lock our doors when I was kids. When I was kids, apparently I used to be plural. Actually, I was plural. I used to be 355 pounds. I was plural. I am now singular. I need tea. I'm just saying. This shit is whack. I can't. How does no one interview? This woman was in the freaking house. Nothing to see here. Go ahead, go home. You're good. Go have that cake. But. Oh yeah, the 90s. Yeah. Come on. What? See, I have the chills. Catherine, we don't have any cake, baby. Catherine is my daughter's bestie. Everyone say hello to Catherine. Catherine, I'm reading a book right here. If you want to hear it, go back to the beginning. You can start hearing. I'm reading literally this whole book. I'm going to read the whole book for everyone. You cry? Catherine, don't cry. Why are you crying, honey? You okay? It's a wonderful book. I'm going to read the entire thing. You weren't born when this happened, love bug. Trust me, you weren't born. I was alive when this happened. I remember this whole thing. Catherine is someone that I know and love. Oh, you cry because no cake? Catherine, there's always chocolate here, honey. If you need chocolate, just come on over. There's always chocolate here. Just let me know and I'll let you in. You know that. Terry made muffins. Blueberry muffins. No, yeah, no cake. But Terry, it's kind of cake. Blueberry muffins is like cake in a muffin form, and you know that. Having a muffin is like cheating. It's like a small cake in the shape of a muffin. Yes, Ruby's here. Ruby, are you sleeping?
No.
Kat is on my live. She wanted to know if you were here.
I heard.
Yes, Ruby's here. Ruby is here. She's on her bed. She's laying on her. How's your finger, baby?
Fine.
Fine. She was knitting or crocheting. She's knitting. She was knitting some more. Oh my God, Ruby, I'm your biggest fan, Catherine says.
I'm your biggest fan.
Oh, Ruby is your biggest fan, Catherine. There's a love thing happening right now live as I'm trying to read a book. I love it. I took a break because this book is getting to me. Because this shit happened. This is real. Yeah. Why, Catherine? Do you want to come spend some time with Ruby? Do you want Catherine time today, Ruby?
If she's around, I guess.
Are you around? How adorable is this?
You want to make my bed for me?
Yeah, Catherine, you want to come over and help Ruby make her bed? She did all of her laundry, but she has to make her bed. You want to come over and help her make the bed? The answer should be yes, Catherine, because after it, you get chocolate. That seems like a sweet, pun intended, deal. I would, but I got to do homework.
Japanese homework?
Japanese homework? Ruby wants to know? Japanese homework.
Most likely Japanese homework.
Japanese waits for no one, she said. Japanese waits for no one. You knew it. Yes, Japanese waits for no one. Wow, good Lord, woman. After Japanese homework, you're going to need some chocolate.
We walk the dog.
But you walk the dog.
We walk the dog.
If you need to walk the dog. Ohio, Ruby-san. I probably ruined that, but Ohio, Ruby-san. I feel like Karate Kid just now. All right, I'm gonna get back to my book. Catherine, we love you. If you need a break, you text Ruby because I'm reading a book now.
You're gonna have to do homework while you're on my mom's YouTube. Go back to work.
Yeah,
You're distracted.
Listen, you're distracted. Ruby just called you out, girl. Yeesh. You are distracted. You are not listening to my book. If you're doing homework, you're not. You're listening to my book. Go back to your homework. I'm going back to this book. Okay. And because it's a great live stream, thank you. Thank you. It's a great live stream. Thank you. It's just a book that I'm reading that I have to get back to now. All right. I love you, Catherine. Go back to your homework now. All right. Here's what I know. Ready? General Tso's chicken. That's it. That's all I got. Here we go. Back to the book. Where am I? I can't believe they didn't investigate her. I can't. All right. I don't know where I left off, so give me a minute. I'll find it. Terry, here we go. It seems incredible and indefensible that the first people on the scene, people who actually shared a common wall with the murder victim, were not included in the police investigation. That is asinine to me. That's mental. My glasses drive me mental. The problem with Virginia and Barry Reckley, from the prosecution's point of view, was that their testimony would establish a serious commotion happening on Downing's stairs at about 8:15. That would exclude Eddie O'Brien as a suspect and was inconsistent with the case the prosecution was building against him. So glad I got this book. They knew where Eddie was at 8:15. He was on his own front porch. The Reckleys also could establish that the Downing's hallway sink apparently was running full force at 9 when Virginia was trying to wash the dishes. Eddie's whereabouts were clearly accounted for between 8 and 9:15. The elected district attorney, Thomas Riley, chose to prosecute this case himself. He vehemently defended the probe, saying Reckley had nothing new to offer. According to a statement made to reporters Ann Donlan and Bill Hutchinson just a few weeks earlier after the murder, Eddie O'Brien's first attorney. Can we pause for a second? These keep sliding. I need my black glasses. Please forgive me. I can't with the sliding because I'm reading, so I need something that's going to stay put. I need my black glasses. Pause. I need my black glasses. I can't with the sliding. It's driving me mental. All right. I have ones that are more snug. They're black. They're the same frame, but they're just black. And they're more snug around my face. Ow, 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 ow. Hey, apparently I pinched myself. Hello. These are not going to move. Here we go. You take a break. Here we go. All right. Where the fuck? Ooh. Truck. I said truck. There's a truck outside. Look at that truck. Okay. The elected district attorney, Thomas Riley, chose to prosecute this case himself. He vehemently defended the probe, saying Reckley had nothing new to offer, according a statement made to reporters Ann Donlan and Bill Hutchinson just a few weeks after the murder. Eddie O'Brien's first attorney hired an investigator immediately after he was arrested. He took Virginia Reckley's statement in August of 1995. District Attorney Riley had that report since 1995. He knew that Virginia Reckley heard and saw that night. Oh, he knew what Virginia Reckley heard and saw that night, yet he chose not to follow up on that information. I gotta open my window. This is mental. This is craziness. There better not be an orange man outside this window today, that's all I'm saying. Okay. I can't. I love that you guys think it's funny, but do we see that this isn't moving? Okay. How do you not? This is where the nerves in my body do this. Right? It's Morrissey. You do, get out of my head, Terry. If you're going to be in there, bring the muffins. That's all I'm saying. All right? Oh my God. I can't with this. I can't. Notwithstanding the unequivocal observations of the next-door neighbors, Riley would ask a jury to believe that Eddie O'Brien went into the Downing home at about 9:15, and between that time and a knock at the front door by his friends at approximately 9:20, brutally attacked Downing, dragged her from the front den, through the living room, up the stairs, down the stairs, while stabbing her 98 times. In the midst of this killing spree, he removed her bra, sliced it 36 times, and placed it back on her body. Eddie allegedly also spent some time inflicting some 22 slicing wounds on the victim's neck, wounds inflicted after she was unconscious or immobile. Riley would ask the jury to believe that Eddie then turned on the hallway sink and washed himself clean, but somehow left huge smears of blood on both sides of the basement stairwell walls. On the post at the bottom of the stairs, on the clothes on the line, and on the latch and surface of the cellar door to the backyard. This was the DA's theory of the case at this point. Virginia Reckley had very important information that would need to be ignored if DA Riley was to convince a jury that Eddie was the murderer. I can't with this book. I am so glad I got this book. Chapter 4, Gina Mahoney. I don't know if I can stop this book. I'm just going to read until I can't. Chapter 4, Gina Mahoney. Seeing all the commotion at the Downing house, Gina Mahoney immediately thought there must be a crisis with Kerry. I went out the front door and saw several emergency vehicles parked around Janet's house, she explained. I assumed that her daughter Kerry had come by and that they were in a confrontation. This was a frequent event when Kerry was there, and Janet's way to handle it was to call the police. You can't make this up. Terry, you can't make this up. My temper flared. I decided that with all of the other problems Janet had told me about, I would go over and lay into Kerry. I walked past the policeman standing on Janet's walkway and went into the foyer. I could see the EMTs working on Janet, but I couldn't see Kerry anywhere. So I went back out. See, now this to me, I don't know about this. How do you just walk past? How do you walk past? I mean, granted it was the 90s, and maybe in the 90s, things were more loose back then. How do you just walk past police in the midst of a crime scene? Like, my brain knows now. Like, there's no way anyone's walking past anybody now at a crime scene. I just graduated high school in 1990. So, 95, 90, 78, you know, I was in my my 20s. We don't talk about my 20s. What happened in my 20s stays back there. There are no receipts. If you were there to witness it, you know. If you know, you know. That's it. We're not talking about it. I wasn't really paying attention, okay? I was doing things I shouldn't. I should be dead, but I'm here. Thank you, Lord. I'm just saying. So I would think that maybe back in the 90s, maybe you could just walk past. Like, they weren't so strict back then. I don't know. But it's Massachusetts. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe they let people be sloppy. I don't know. I don't remember. I wasn't paying attention. I was doing really bad things. To myself, with others. We're going to move on. Okay. Thank you, Lord, that I'm still alive. All right, moving on. That she even just said that. She just walked past a policeman standing on Janet's walkway, went into the foyer. I could see the EMTs working on Janet. I couldn't see Kerry anywhere around, so I went back out. Like, how does that even happen? Cheryl, I love listen, excuse me. We all have this. I love that. But see, Cheryl, I love that you get it. You get it. You get it. I was doing all of it. All of it. If someone says, did you? The answer is yes. Yes, I did. How many times? Every time. The answer is every time. Okay? All of it? Yes, every time. Okay? Knowledge. Cheryl, you and I and Terry, the three of us, we're now besties, okay? It's all here. And that's why when someone's like, oh, you're too old. No, I'm not. I'm exactly the age I need to be because all the things I've done and learned, life lessons. If someone's, oh, you want to go back in time? Only if I can take what's up here with me. Otherwise, no. Every wrinkle, every this is all earned. I earned all this shit. I earned it, and it's staying with me. I can't believe she just walked in, passed, and then, oh, don't worry, don't mind me. I'll be leaving. I'm good. Right? You learn from your mistakes. When we know better, I say this all the time, when we know better, we do better. Oh no, we were slippery little suckers back in Gen X. Like this one, slipping into the house and right back out. What the hell is this? What is this? This is Gen X. This is Gen X. Excuse me, pardon me, coming through, gone. We're reading Gen X, okay? Here we go. I have to calm down. This book is getting to me. Here we go. Mahoney said she returned to her porch. Because that's what you do. Get your popcorn. I returned to my porch to watch what was happening. I added the popcorn, but really, get your popcorn, right? I can't. My hair's going to start to get crazy now because this is mental. Mahoney said she returned to her porch to watch what was happening. She was there only a minute when she saw Artie Ortiz walking from Hamlet Street toward her porch. Oh, hell no, that's when I'd be grabbing my wooden spoon. Not towards my porch. Not today, Satan. Walking from Hamlet Street toward her porch, he looked, she reported, fresh as a daisy. Interesting. Don't mind me. When I get all worked up, my nose starts to... It's just going to happen, okay? Deal with it. Fresh as a daisy. Everyone else was wilted from the humid summer heat, but Ortiz looked like he'd just stepped out of a cool shower with wet, freshly combed hair. Ortiz told her that his dispatcher had radioed him to say that his sister-in-law had been murdered. Mahoney wondered how he could have known that when Downing was still inside with the EMTs. Mahoney saw Ortiz's green cab parked the wrong way on Hamlet Street beside Downing's backyard, facing toward the bottom of the hill, on the left side of the street instead of the right side. She noticed that it was blocked in by a fire engine, police car, and ambulance, which meant that Ortiz had been parked there before the first responders even arrived. I can't with this. This dude was in the chat. Listen, I give JFK so much credit for inviting that dude last night in the live. I can't. JFK, can we bake JFK a cake? Like a big, huge cake with maybe with protein powder in it, so it's like a protein cake. I can do that. Totally doing it. Here we go. I keep losing my spot because I'm angry now. I don't know how he did that. I don't know how he did that. He's so strong. Oh, we've seen the muscles. I don't have them, but I'm channeling my inner JFK. The dude's got some muscles. Moving on. All right. I just lost. I do this because I get upset. He does. Him and James and Kevy Kev, the three of them are just top notch. Ortiz asked if he could use here we go. Ortiz asked if he could use the phone to call his wife. He certainly didn't look like he'd been driving a cab all night. Mahoney's daughter went inside to get it for him. He stepped off the porch and was leaning against the car at the curb. He turned back to us and announced, well, she's officially dead now. He handed me back the phone and reached into his pocket. Then he started patting himself down, looking in pockets, and kept saying, oh, shit, oh, shit. Then he shouted that he'd lost his keys and that he had to find them right now. he took off at a run across the street towards Janet's house. Funny, why would they be in Janet's house? Oh, Cheryl, after you're done listening to this, you got to go back and watch last night's live. Artie was in the chat. Oh my good Lord. Funny that you lost your keys and you got to go look in Janet's house. Interesting. I gotta go. I gotta take off at a run across the street to Janet's house. The police had begun to put the yellow tape around the property. Artie was searching around the back and sides of the cab. Then he sprinted across Janet's lawn and a cop stopped him. He told the cop that he'd lost his keys and wanted to go into the backyard of the house and look for them. The cop told him that he couldn't excuse me. God damn. Excuse me. This is what Massachusetts does to me, okay? Yeah. I think everything that he said was lies. He reminded me very much of any and all McAlberts. I'm going to just drop that right there. We're going to put a pin in that right there, okay? That's what I feel. Disclaimer, that's what I feel, okay? Here we go. I just needed a sip. Everyone says, oh, you have a great voice, you should read books. Do you see how I can't focus on just, I have to stop and chat, and maybe I have OCD, maybe I have ADHD. I don't know, maybe I have both. Maybe I have all the letters. And that's okay. This is my channel. I'm not being paid to do this. I'm just saying I want to do this because I want to share it with you guys. All right? I think this is what I told a friend. The Ed that was in the chat, I don't think it was the father. I think it was Ed who is incarcerated. Because when he was offered an opportunity to join and come in, he didn't. And why do I think he didn't? Because Ed, little Ed that is, not little, but the young Ed that is incarcerated, just like JFK said, he only has an iPad. He only has a tablet. He doesn't have a phone line. He can't ringy-dingy, two ringy-dingies, hey, what's going on? He can't. He cannot join. As much as he would love to, he cannot. So do I think it was incarcerated? I don't know. Could be. You're onto it, Terry. I think it might have been, could have been, perhaps. Don't know. Terry, you bring me some of those muffins. We can talk more at length about that. I'm just kidding. I dreamt about muffins. That's on you. That is all. That is all your fault. Muffin Lady. You should change your name to Muffin Lady. Blueberry Muffin. I will tell you, I do still have my strawberry shortcake dolls from back in the day. I can neither confirm nor deny pulling out Blueberry Muffin and taking a few hits of that. I'm just saying. We're moving on now. Here we go. Now I gotta find my... do I need to put the light on? I think I'm gonna put the one behind me on so I can read the book better. Here we go. Give me a little light for this book. You laugh all you want. Oh, I still have the shortcakes. They still have all their smell. I don't know what toxic bullshit they put in those dolls. It lingers. Those things are still like brand new today. All right? I still have them. Strawberry shortcake, huckleberry pie, the purple pie man. I got them all. I'm going to pretend I didn't read that. All right. All right, here we go. I got to find where I was. I keep losing my spot here. I love that you have 50 subs. Yay, Cheryl, we're going to help you get everybody sub to Cheryl's channel. I love you, Cheryl. You're awesome. I subbed to your channel right away. Anyone that subs to mine, I sub immediately to theirs. I'm still small. Don't you hate meetings? Cheryl, come back later and listen to the rest of this because I'm just going to keep reading. It's just going to happen. I can't stop reading this book. Love you, Cheryl, with an S. Okay, here we go. All right. Okay, here we go. He stepped off the porch. He was leaning against the car at the curb. I may be reading this over, but I'm still going to do it. He turned back to us and announced, well, she's officially dead now. He handed me back the phone and reached into his pocket. Then, oh, right here, I did read this. Oh, shit, he shouted. He lost his keys. He had to find them right now. He took off at a run across towards Janet's house. Police had begun to put the yellow tape around the property. Artie, liar, was searching around the back and sides of the cab. Then he sprinted across to Janet's lawn and a cop stopped him. Finally, cop doing what he should do. A rarity in corrupt Massachusetts. He told the cop he lost his keys and he wanted to go into the backyard of the house and look for them. The cop told him that he couldn't come beyond the tape until it was removed. The cop also told him that if his keys were found, they would be returned to him. Artie came back now and was repeatedly saying that he had to find those keys now. Is that so? Bully. He asked me if I thought that the police would be leaving soon, and I explained that I thought that the procedure would be to leave a cop on site to keep people from getting in past the tape. Artie was very upset and said that he needed to get over there to look for his keys and that he couldn't leave them behind. He again went across the street and asked the cop if he could search for his keys. Oh, you want preferential treatment? Is that what you want, dude? He came back to my house and said that the cop wouldn't let him go into the backyard to look for his keys. He asked to use the phone again to call the company to have the cab towed away. A few minutes later, Jessica O'Brien, Eddie's 12-year-old sister, came running out of the O'Brien house, calling for her father. Mahoney told her he was inside Downing's house. Mahoney went with Jessica to the Downing house and asked one of the cops to get Big Ed. Jessica told her father, little Ed got hurt. He just called from midnight, the store he worked at. Mahoney returned to her house. She later found out that her daughter had been up in her bedroom smoking a joint with Ortiz. Interesting. Eventually, Ortiz's cab was towed. Ortiz remained around the crime scene for hours afterward. He was frantic about having lost his keys. He kept commenting on what trouble he was going to be in for losing them over there. No, that is what places you at the crime scene, idiot. I can't with this. I can't with this. I just can't. He was going to be, he was frantic about having lost his keys. He kept commenting on what trouble he was going to be in for losing them over there, wrote Mahoney in her recollections. I remember saying that it probably was a common happening and that they would just give you duplicate keys at the dispatch. He said, you don't understand. This is really bad. I'm fucked now. Interesting. Is that true? Why would you be fucked? They're just keys. Oh, wait, because you left them at a murder scene? Yeah, I would say that's probably really bad. As the hours passed, Paul Downing and Jeannie O'Brien returned from Revere Beach. Janet's ex-husband, Paul, also arrived, as did Aaron and Carrie Ann. Their 2 daughters. Mahoney sat on the curb and held young Paul in her lap. While he cried and cried, his father was also crying. None of what Downing told Mahoney on the last day of her life would ever be heard by a jury. Oh my God! Similarly, what Ortiz told Mahoney about Downing being murdered and officially dead now, or how he had managed to lose his keys in Downing's backyard, would not be disclosed to the jury in Eddie's trial. All of these statements were deemed inadmissible hearsay by Judge James McDaniel, a former Middlesex County Assistant District Attorney who presided over the trial. I can't even with these people. Hearsay is considered unreliable in terms of proof because there's no opportunity to cross-examine the person who's actually said the words. Well, there would have been if you called them. Sorry, I'm getting upset. There are many exceptions to the hearsay rule, but only one ineffective attempt to get this testimony in through one of those exceptions was made by the defense. No detectives or investigators would testify about what Downing told Mahoney the day because the CPAC investigators refused to interview Mahoney. Her information would not appear in any police reports or narratives of the investigation into the murder. When the Somerville police first came to Mahoney's house on Monday morning, the day following Downing's murder, they asked only 2 questions. When was the last time you saw Janet Downing? And when did she leave your house? What? Why just those 2? Mahoney made it clear she had additional information, but the police said that it was all they needed at the time. Because they're setting him up. That's what police do. It's a setup. Interesting. We don't know anything about that in Massachusetts. Police setting people up. Wow. Woo! Sorry, I'm getting upset. The DA, the CPAC unit, and the Somerville police had already decided who had committed this murder. Okay. Wow, this shit was happening. This shit has been happening forever. I'm getting a little upset. They believed they had their bad guy, a little boy, and were interested in considering any alternative perpetrator. When investigators discovered that Eddie O'Brien had a cut on his hand and had been taken to Somerville Hospital that Sunday night, they didn't believe him when he said that he'd been mugged at Union Square. They immediately connected Downing's murder with Eddie's lacerated right hand. Local state police arrived at the hospital and asked the nurse to swab a small drop of blood from Eddie's right shin. Eddie and his father were brought to the Somerville police station that night and questioned at length. Eddie's clothes and sneakers were seized. His fingerprints were taken. Early Monday morning, Eddie was released into his father's custody, but it was clear that he was a suspect. He would be formally arrested in the slaying 1 day later. Seasoned homicide detectives say the worst mistake investigators can make is to focus too quickly on one suspect. I agree. Over the course of the next year, Mahoney repeatedly called the Detective Bureau to say that she wanted to tell them what Downing had said on the day she died. Each time, Mahoney was told that the detectives had all the information they needed about Downing. Eventually, Mahoney just stopped calling the police. I need to pause. And my book, I dog-ear the pages. I'm a dog-ear. My book, that's what I do. If you don't like it, get over it. My book, I paid for it. I can't right now. I have to pause because I'm going to get angry and throw the book, and I don't like to throw books. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pull a card. We have a new, your breakthrough is coming. We have a new deck. I'm going to pull a new card from the new deck because that's what I need it. I don't know what you people need, but I need a new pull. I'm going to get my little lap desk. Holy crap. I need a fresh card. Look at it. I didn't lose my keys. Dipshit. My keys are right here. Your breakthrough is coming. Here's the keys, okay? We're going to pull a new card right now because I need it, all right? So here we go. I don't know. It's probably just Terry here with me. Cheryl had to go. She has got a mission, whatever. But I'm going to pull this, and whoever listens to this later, this is for whoever listens to this later, because by the time you get to this point, whoever's here, you're going to need this pull. You're going to need a nice new card. We're going to do it. So whichever card falls out, this is the one we need because that was rough. That was rough. So I read till chapter. I read 4 chapters. The prologue and 4 chapters. I can't. We're gonna pause at chapter 5. That is crazy. Oh, it is so needed. Thank you. Don't you think so? Don't you think so? Ridiculous. I've never pulled from this deck, but I feel like we found our key. Okay? We found our key. Artie can shove his keys where the sun don't shine. All right? We need this key. I'm gonna always do. This is the deck I'm gonna always use after this deck is specific for when I read this book. That's it. Okay? All right. Holy shit balls. Holy shit balls. I can't. The tea isn't even. Tea usually does it for me. Tea is doing nothing. Even the chocolate. The chocolate was nice, but I'm not gonna lie. I need a muffin cake. Can you make a muffin cake? Can you do that? I need a muffin cake. All right, these are brand new cards, so it's going to take a minute for the mojo and you know what I mean. I just have to shuffle for a few and talk myself through this because this was mental craziness. What do you think so far, Terry? What do you think? He was in the chat. And the louder he got, and the more he was talking, when he started talking over JFK, I'm like, hi, dude, he invited you here. Can you be a little, with all due respect, can you be a little more respectful of our host? Because he invited you here. He kept talking over JFK, and he got louder. Like, when JFK seemed like he was on the dude's side, he was like kind and friendly. And then the minute he would question him about some things, that's a lie, that's a lie. I'm like, interesting. Hackles came up. He was starting to get like, I'm like, oh, a little defensive. The minute someone gets defensive and angry and loud, it's a sign of a liar. I've dated them all. Trust me, I know them all. That's the sign of a liar. I can't. Mighty Muffin. Can you change your name to the Mighty Muffin Lady? MFL. Mighty Muffin Lady. The Mighty Muffin Lady. That's what you are. You're the Mighty Muffin Lady. When I see your name, Terry, you should be Terry Muffin. Terry Muffin. I'm sorry. You're just cute. You're my cute muffin lady. That's it. That's what you are now. I'm just so worked up. I don't know. Is her neighbor still around? I don't know. Listen, I'll come back later and I'll read a few more chapters, but I mentally, can you see how worked up I am? I started nice, quiet, and peaceful, and I'm like, it's crazy. I need a break. I need a card. All I've had today to eat, I had tea. What is it? It's 1:45. Okay? I've had tea, 2 cups of tea, 1 banana, and a dark chocolate truffle. That's it. I don't eat a lot. I had gastric bypass surgery. My stomach is the size of the truffle that I ate. So, but I think my body needs protein. So I need to I have vegan chicken nuggets in this one wants to fall out right here. I have vegan chicken nuggets. They're vegan. They're not real chicken, but they're loaded with protein. So I'm going to heat some of those up for myself because I need it. Okay. This is what we need to do. Own the room. Your breakthrough is coming. Own the room. Now it's got a message. We're going to find where it is. Own the room. Where is it? There's a whole, let me see if I can find it. Oh, there we go, 93. I love that it's got an index because I'm not scrolling through this book all day. 93. Own the room. The core message. Confidence is a decision, not a feeling. This is true. Confidence is a decision, not a feeling. The key themes: presence, self-leadership, bold energy, personal power, visibility, and owning your worth. I tell you guys that all the time. The message is you do not have to wait until you feel confident to act confident. Know your worth, people. Confidence is something that you choose moment by moment, breath by breath. It is a posture, a mindset, a powerful decision. I feel like this is for our friend that went on her meeting. You don't have to wait till you feel. You see what this book has done to me? This is for Cheryl. You don't have to wait till you feel confident, Cheryl, to act confident. Confidence is something that you choose moment by moment, breath by breath. It's a posture, a mindset, a powerful decision to believe in your presence and speak with your say it with your chest. Didn't somebody say that yesterday in the chat? Holy shit. Say it with your chest. Even if your voice shakes, stand tall and say that shit with your chest. This card is your permission to slip, to stop playing small. Whether you're stepping into a literal room, a new opportunity, or a bigger version of yourself, own it. Walk in like you belong, because you do. Lead with your energy before you say a single word. I do that every day. Confidence doesn't mean you never doubt. It means that you move anyway. That's so true. Guidance. If you've been shrinking, questioning yourself, or struggling to be seen, this card reminds you that you don't need more proof. You need more choice. You need more choice. Confidence isn't something granted by others. It's something claimed from within by yourself. Hey, Dave. You don't need to be louder, flashier, or more polished. Hello, no flash, no polish. Old grandma right here. You just need to trust that your presence is enough. Let people adjust to your energy, not the other way around. That's what I said. Journaling prompts. Where in my life am I wanting, or what am I waiting to feel confident before I fully show up? What does it mean to own the room in a way that feels authentic to me? What would I do differently if I believed I was already enough? Empowering practice embodies confidence. Stand tall, shoulders back, chin up. Take 3 grounding breaths and say aloud, I belong here. I own my space. I trust my voice. Then walk into the next room, conversation or challenge with that energy leading the way. Your affirmation is, I don't wait for confidence. I create my own confidence. I own my own energy, my worth, and my space. Show up boldly today. In one area where you've been holding back, speak up in the meeting. Oh, there you go, Cheryl. Speak up in the meeting. Introduce yourself with presence. Make the ask. Take up the space on purpose and let the room rise to meet you. God, I love these. Are great. So it's a little prompt, and then there's a huge, I love, these are so good. These are so good. Awesome. Love them. These are, we need these with this book. So Dave, if you're joining now and you didn't know what was going on, I got this book. I'm reading this book aloud. As many chapters as I can do without losing my ever-loving mind, because Massachusetts is a shit show. So I'm reading this book. It's Margo Nash, The Politics of Murder, The Power and Ambition Behind the Altar Boy Murder Case. Okay, I'm reading this. I got through 4 chapters so far. I'm going to come back later and read some more. Oh, thank you. I fell in love with it. Oh, that's the moon, actually. I think it's the moon. When I saw it, I thought it was the moon. So yes, so I am going to be reading this book, chapter by chapter by chapter. But right now I need a break because this book, go back and start from the beginning and listen. I read the prologue and the first 4 chapters, so you can listen to it. Ooh, good Lord. Good Lord. I cannot. I'm going to take a break. I'm sure I'll come back later and read some more, but I have to load this. It takes a while to load this. So everyone enjoy. I love you all. Thanks for sticking this out with me. I'm not the best reader because I get distracted. I'm like a bird with oh, look at that shiny thing. That's what happens. But I'm not going to change. This is me. I'm not fancy. See you later. Everybody, love you all. Mwah. Enjoy the day. It's gorgeous. I will come back later with more of this book and another of Your Breakthrough is Coming. This deck is going to be specifically with this book because we totally need it, okay? Enjoy the day. I love you all. I shall return later. Bye-bye. Boop, boop. Let's go.